Good afternoon. We're going to start the webinar in just a couple more minutes. We'll see if we have some additional attendees who are able to join us. So we'll be back in a couple minutes. Thank you. Okay, we'll begin our webinar now. Today we're having an informational session about our project and construction management services for the First 5 LA Facility Renovation Project, RFP. And we'll just begin with some introductions.
Hi, I'm Carl Gayton, the Senior Director of Administration within the Admin Division here at First 5 Los Angeles.
And I'm Jeanette Sheen, and I'm in our Contract Operations and Purchasing Department. So today we'll briefly provide an overview of our agency and provide some information about the renovation project, as well as the services that we are seeking. And then we'll go into the application process, our selection process, the terms of the project, the timeline. So all of these things are contained in the RFP, but we'll highlight some important dates and steps of the processes, and then we'll go into Q&As. We do have a option to submit questions. There should be a questions box in your webinar options, and we ask that you submit any questions in writing through that box, and we'll take a look at them at the end of the webinar and provide a response then. So feel free to submit questions throughout, but we will address them at the end of the webinar.
So I'm going to just give a little bit of overview about First 5 Los Angeles and a little bit about the project, and I'm going to turn it back over to Jeanette, who's going to walk through the remaining things that we'll discuss on this call. First 5 LA is a leading early childhood funder and advocacy organization created by the California voters to invest in Prop 10 tobacco tax revenues in Los Angeles County. Every county in California has a First 5. And in 1998, California passed Proposition 10, which levied a 50-cent per pack tax on all tobacco products, resulting in the creation of our organization. We're all represented through, and we roll up to the county, and that's pretty much who we are. We've invested over about $1 billion into health, safety, and school readiness in the county of Los Angeles and for kids leading up to the age 5. We're in the, I guess, the second year, almost our third, of our 2015-2020 strategic plan. Our 5-year plan consists really in investing in 6 key areas, which are all in the actual RFP. But I'll mention that we're focused on research and development, public policy and advocacy, service delivery, systems improvement, provider training, community capacity building, and communications. As a part of our strategic focus and what we've gone through as an organization, we're recently in going through a reorganization of internal staff to align us better to our strategic plan. We're looking to renovate our office buildings, and that includes the interior and interior to reflect the newly aligned organizational structure and really to enhance and create a culture of internal collaboration and work in our environment. We have one building here. We're all centralized at the Union Station campus in downtown Los Angeles, and we're seeking a project manager and a construction management of someone that can help us get through our renovation of our office building. We own and occupy the building, and we have about 45,000 square feet. We have 3 stories, and we're, again, located right across from Union Station on the Union Station campus in downtown LA. We plan to make large-scale facility upgrades and improvements to maintain and sustain our facilities. We have owned this building for about 14 years, and we have not made any capital improvements to this building. So part of this project would be to be looking at our physical plant and our building to make improvements to the outside for it to be sustainable, but it also includes an interior redesign of our facilities and our space. The current phases that we are in terms of our project for this space planning, we've completed our planning, we've completed our design phase, and we finished our block planning stage, as well as we're drafting up a final version of our space plan. And the goal of this project manager would be to kind of enter into the planning phase, which would then move forward with the pre-construction, construction, and closeout phases in terms of this project. So we're wrapping up our design phase, and we are working with a local architectural firm. We anticipate additional contractors, as well as a need for potentially a relocation firm, as we're the only person that operate our business. We have no other location to maybe relocate to. We will need a general contractor as well as other construction contractors to lead us through this project. So that's pretty much an overview. This is something that we're looking to move forward with as soon as possible, as a direction from our executive director, as we would like to get through completing our reorg. But this is a very important high priority for First Five, and we're excited to enter into this project. So I'll pass it over to Jeanette. She'll walk you through the application process.
Okay, so our application process is outlined in the RFP, and there are quite a few required documents, so we urge you to take a detailed look at everything that's described in the RFP. And it begins on page 11 of the RFP, but very quickly I will give you a quick overview of each of these. So we have an online application system, so you are required to submit all of the rest of these documents through our online system. So you create an account and you log into the application. There's a form that you fill out, which is to collect some basic information about your company, primarily contact information. And then there's a page on which you would attach all of the other required documents that we're asking for. So, for example, the cover letter, the team qualifications and resumes, etc. So we utilize this online system, and we require that you use this system to apply, so we do not accept proposals handed in on paper or mailed in. So please use our online application system. If you need technical assistance to submit or to use our system, feel free to reach out to the contact information on the web page, or you can also reach out to me. And my email is listed at the end of this presentation, and also on the timeline page of our RFP, which is page 3. So that's our online application, and we have now I'll go into the other required documents. So we are asking for a cover letter. So this is 3 pages max, This does not include if you are proposing a joint venture agreement. So the 3 pages really should address these key areas. There are key areas A through D. So first is to explain how your company meets the eligibility criteria and the minimum requirements. So they are also listed again here. So being within 60 miles of the renovation project site, so our office building, and you would have to be able to visit our site regularly. And the other requirement is 5 years of project and construction management experience with public works construction projects. And then you would provide general company info and also information about comparable contracts from the last 5 years, whether they were completed or they are in progress or not completed. So you would provide some basic information about those projects. And then we're also asking for some specific financial information, for example, a detailed statement about who owns the company and other business lines. So that's all in the cover letters of 3 pages maximum. And then we are asking for qualifications under qualifications and resumes, we're asking for 2 different things. So first, we're asking for a qualifications narrative, and then also resumes. So the 5-page maximum applies just to the narrative, and you would submit all the resumes for key personnel that you're proposing to use on this project. And that is unlimited. The next required document is the overview and approach. I guess it would be a narrative, and that is 10 pages maximum. And here we are asking for you to describe some specific things. So the general approach, project controls, quality control or quality assurance processes, and we have some sub-items under there if you would please take a look at that. And then any resources that you would require, and then you can also itemize other additional services that you could propose as being needed. We have a multi-page scope of work section in the RFP, but if you see anything else needed, you could add an additional services section. So that is a maximum of 10 pages. And next we have the staffing plan and compensation. So this is a 7-page maximum, and we are asking for you to provide the personnel staffing plan. So you would provide the titles and hourly rates, so we're asking for that in this document. And then for key positions, we're asking you to identify who you are proposing to be on this engagement. And then if you have subcontractors, who they are and what they would do for this project. And then the next document we're asking for is the references, and we have a form. It's Appendix C, and you can use that form to provide the information we're asking for. So it's the name, and we also ask for the project or contract that they worked with you on. So there's some detailed information, so we ask you to use the form so we can collect all the information we're looking for. And the next few items are mainly forms. So we have a litigation and contract compliance form. So we ask you to read that and have the authorized signatory at your company sign it, and you can scan it and upload it to our system. We also ask for a copy of your business license if it is something that's required by the jurisdiction in which your company resides. And then the non-collusion affidavit, that's a form. It's attached, the blank one is attached as Appendix E, so you would again review that, have your authorized signatory sign it, scan it and upload it. And the next, the certification of proposal is also a form. So the same process there. And then finally, we have one last form. It's your acknowledgement of compliance with the insurance requirements. So the insurance requirements are listed in the sample agreement, which is Appendix A. So you would review that, and the form of Appendix G is to show that you have read that and acknowledge what our insurance requirements are. So those are all of our required documents, and we have a checklist that is available, and it's just to assist in going through all of the pieces of the required documents and make sure that you're submitting. You don't have to submit the application checklist itself. It's just an aid for you. And I just wanted to take a moment to highlight our what we have stated about any addendum or addenda. So we have stated on page 3 of the RFP, there's a section there, and I just want to highlight it to make sure you all take a look at it. But we have a right to amend the solicitation by written addendum. If we do amend or add anything to the solicitation, we post it on the website and on our funding center. So the funding center is available. You could find it by just navigating to our main page, but the exact page for this RFP is also listed in the RFP itself. And we do ask that if we do have any addenda that you address those requirements, if any, during your proposal or in the proposal documents that you submit. And so please make sure that you check our website and see if there are any updates or addenda, and make sure you incorporate that. And we do ask that you include a notation, so in writing, that you're aware of the addenda, if any, and that you've incorporated it. So please take note of those requirements. And next, I'll just briefly go into our selection process, and it is on begins on page 10 of our RFP. So we have multiple levels of review. In our first level of review, it's done internally, and we check for some basic requirements such as completeness. So if you do not submit all of the documents that are required, we can disqualify your proposal. The next criteria that we look at is timeliness. So I'll share the timeline. I think it's towards the end of this presentation, but all of the deadlines in the RFP are listed on page 3. So and particularly during this level of review, we look at whether or not all of the required documents, the online application was submitted in time. And I'll just call out now, actually, that it is all due October 10th by 5 p.m. Pacific time. We also look at the eligibility requirements. If you recall, it's one of the things that we ask you to call out in your cover letter. So we'll take a look at that, and we'll also do our due diligence review. And those that pass the level 1 review move on to the level 2 review. And during the level 2 review, we're going to have external and internal reviewers take a look at all of the documents that you submit related to your approach, the narratives about your team, those kinds of things. They are not necessarily looking at the forms, but they are looking at all of the proposed pieces of your proposal. So, for example, the personnel staffing plan. And then we have the highly scoring applicants move on to level 3, which is the interview. So we invite highly scoring applicants, and the interviews are held at our offices, and we may request additional information before or after the interviews as well. And based on the interview process, the highest scoring proposer is recommended to our Board of Commissioners for award of the contract. And we are asking for references because the reference checks will complement the other levels of review, and we do plan to conduct a reference check. So I will also now go over the terms of the project. So at this time, we anticipate that the contract will be a fixed fee for service contract and or a time and materials contract. So either one of those or a blend of those. And we will amend the contract with the selected firm for each phase of the renovation project. as it becomes established and approved by us. So the 4 phases, I think Carl called out in the previous sections, but it's also laid out in the RFP. And we do pay invoices based upon the negotiated payment structure, and so again, that's to be determined. And we have listed in the RFP some requirements for progress reports that we expect to be submitted along with the invoices. And so just briefly going over the timeline. So today we are here at the information session, which is the 28th. And on October 3rd, next week, 5 p.m., that's your final date to submit questions and requests for additional information. So again, that's in writing, and that's to me. And we may respond individually to questions, but we'll also post responses to all questions received on October 4th on the website on our funding center for this particular RFP. So you can check that website again, and we will have posted responses to questions sometime on October 4th. And proposals are due by 5 p.m. October 10th. And again, as I mentioned, it's all of those required documents submitted through our online system. So that's due 5 p.m. on October 10th. And we anticipate, so this is subject to change, but we anticipate that interviews will take place between October 30th and November 1st. And we have an internal, again, so starting with after the proposal due date, there's a chance that some of these dates may be pushed back or moved forward, but we do anticipate that the firm would be selected on November 8th, and then an anticipated contract start date of December 6th. So at this time, we'll take any questions, and I'm going to put us on mute and see if we could sort through any questions, and we'll provide a response if we can right now, or we may respond at a later time. And again, any questions we receive, we'll post on our website. I see that someone has their hand raised through the webinar tools. If you could please type your question into the questions box, that way we could address whatever it is that you're hoping to find out about. So we received a question asking about the budget for the renovation project. So we can share. We do not have a. We have not determined a final budget for the project yet. It's still in the design phase, so we're not able to estimate that at this time. We have no additional questions that have come in, so if you have anything else you'd like to ask us, feel free to type it into the questions box. And of course, you can always email me up till the deadline for written questions. We'll just wait a couple more minutes to see if anyone else has additional questions, and then we'll end the call. Thank you all for attending our webinar. We have no additional questions, but again, feel free to email me if you have any other questions, and we hope that we'll see your proposals. Thank you.